I don't know if you're able to kind of see, so you let me know what you're seeing. Okay. So we are recording. And I hope everybody out there is getting a chance to see us, but let's just go with it. So, hey there, mamas. It's your girl, Nina Shay, aka Mama Bear. Welcome to the first season Monday Night Mamas Conversations in the Huddle. So, tonight we are unpacking the three F's: family, faith, and football. Maybe not in that order, but I've invited my good friend and NFL mama, Kisha Johnson Brown, into the den to talk about being that ride or die, trusting God through it all, and what navigating a brand new season as a Tennessee Titans mom looks like so far. So first, let me introduce Kisha Johnson Brown. She is a wife, she is a nurse, mom of four, Tramel, Amari, Jihad, a bonus daughter-in-law, Gabby, and then of course she is the proud NFL mama to Tennessee Titans DB number 36, Nazeeh Johnson. And Kisha and I go back quite a ways. We go back to the college football mom days. And one thing I'll tell you about it, she keeps it real, she loves hard, and she does not play about her babies. So you already know we're gonna have a fun conversation. And then also, joining us is my beautiful friend Diana Steele, coming to us from Arizona via LA. Diana is a veteran radio personality. That's my dream job. she's also voiceover talent, and she is one of those women I can talk to her about anything, and obviously the world likes listening to her too. So she's the mother of two gorgeous and smart sons, Hunter and Tai Tai, and there really isn't any topic that she doesn't have insightful information to add. So we have her in the huddle tonight for good reason. And then a new friend to our huddle is Coach Melody of Unwrap You. She knows the sports world pretty well. She is the proud boy mom of Colin and Logan, and she has a daughter. From corporations to like ordinary people, she's about helping people get underneath the layers, do the inner work, and become who they really are meant to be. And I just wanted her voice to be in the house, in the huddle tonight, because we're not just talking about football. We're talking family, faith, mental health, and the people behind those uniforms. And then last but not least, there is me, Nina Shay, aka Mama Bear. And I am the proud mama bear of my son Theo, an amazing former standout college athlete, and overall just amazing young man. And over the years, I've nurtured, styled, and supported athletes at just about every level. And, you know, my passion is advocating for young athletes and their families, and just kind of bringing real conversations and real impact to our community. So thank you, moms, for joining in. Let's get to it. Let's get the huddle started. So thank y'all for joining us. Thank you, ladies.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so you all just bring such unique perspectives, and what this conversation for me tonight was just about us getting a chance to just talk about those real things that matter most to us. And of course, we have our featured mom, Kisha Johnson Brown, and you know, for us, or for me, I know that, you know, the season is kicking off, the football season for the NFL. And Kisha has been one of those moms that's been a ride or die for her son, Nazeeh Johnson. And I just kind of wanted to talk about like what this season is starting out to be like for you, Kisha. So tell us, first of all, you just moved from Virginia, right?
Moved from Virginia down to Texas. The season's a little different this year because, you know, Nazeeh was on the Chiefs for 4 years. He was a free agent out of this year. Then he ended up getting signed with the Titans. So just acclimating from the Chiefs to the Titans is actually not a real big or hard transition, at least for me. I mean, for him, I'm sure it is but it's just trying to I guess, navigate around everything again. Because when you're a Chiefs mom, I've been there. I know what I'm doing as far as going around, walking around the stadium and things like that. I don't know much about the Titans. I've never really had to know. You know what I mean? So now it's all brand new to me. So knowing everything from the players, I pay attention to everything, players, coaches, everything. I just don't know a lot about them, so I have to do my homework.
Right. Okay, and then we do know that he's coming from the Chiefs, so he's a two-time Super Bowl champion, right?
Yes, yes,
And he just had a great career, and then he also had some ups and downs, and now you're here with the Tennessee Titans, and out the gate, you got a little bit of something that you weren't expected or expecting.
Right.
So tell us about that if you care to share. 'Cause
Sure.
it's
The thing is, you never know what's going to happen, or you never think anything's going to happen until it actually comes about. And when we found out he was going to get suspended for his test that he took, and then when he mentioned it to me, and I was like, well, what did you take? And then when he mentioned it to me, and then he mentioned that he had gotten the information, he had spoken to doctors, they had given the permission to use it and things like that. Because one thing about it, we've already talked, and he knows he doesn't put anything in his body without asking permission, period. Whether it's a vitamin, Tylenol, like we already know this. So when somebody says it's okay for the use, he's going to listen to what that person says.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, this wasn't like he was taking it to get either healed or to fast or anything. This was off season. He wasn't even playing. It was in February, if I'm not mistaken, if I can remember correctly. So it wasn't interfering in anything that he had going on. And the numbers were so low that the numbers weren't even effective to do anything to cause him to have any type of help or sustain any type of help from that particular medication. So unfortunately for him and my daughter-in-law were having problems. So that was the reason for them initially taking medicine. And again, he was told it was okay to take. In the long run, we found out it wasn't.
Wow.
And now we're 6 games suspension later.
Suspended. Okay, so to be more specific, I mean, just for people that may not have even really heard, so Nazeeh was handed a 6-game, like regular season without pay, right? Suspension, because he had failed drug tests, like the NFL performance enhancement drug test. And then this was because, from Nazeeh, and Gabby and yourself, this was because he was taking fertility pills, was it?
Yes. It was
okay. All right.
So, the sperm count, correct.
Right. And so he's appealed this, right? And nothing, no deal?
No deal. It's still, unfortunately, they're still going to do the 6-game suspension, which we kind of expected. But the whole point of the matter was getting his voice and narrative out, which is
right.
I'm glad when he interviewed with Winchester Star, and it came out, and I started getting text messages, started getting calls, and they were like, well, Kisha, they put all his information out there and blah, blah, blah. And I started laughing, and they were like, what's so funny? I said, because I don't think you guys understand. I said, to me, that's a smart move. I said, because you put it out before anybody else did. And then not only that, with lies and speculations, they're already going to know you've already telling your story. I said, so I don't see a problem with it. I said, I'm kind of glad he did it. I said, I don't know whose idea it was. I said, but kudos to whoever it was. Because, I mean, again, he wasn't taking it to enhance anything. He was taking it off season. He wasn't even playing. He was, you know what I mean? So it wasn't anything. Just like he said I think at the article, he was like, I didn't run that 4.35 taking. And he didn't. He was still just as fast. Like nothing had changed for him. So it was just kind of disappointing to see it end up and turn out that way after he gotten permission and asked to think that nature. But it is what it is. I'm just waiting for him to get back. That's all I care about.
Mm-hmm. That's a great attitude.
Mm-hmm.
I would be like fire.
I know you, Diana.
A lot of people were. It was like, you're not. I said, listen, this is the thing. I can get mad and upset, but there's nothing I can do about, because there's nothing that can be done. It'd be different if he did something that was wrong, but it wasn't. So I can't even get upset with it because he really did not technically do anything wrong.
But Kisha,
you know what I mean?
But Kisha, I love your attitude, because when things happen and you can't do anything about it, even if you get upset and mad, it's not going to change the outcome. It's just going to frustrate you more. So you have to keep that energy up and keep the positivity going, because everything is for a lesson. And so you're going to find what lesson am I going to learn from this and take away, and
Correct.
you keep pushing. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And then I feel like this is an opportunity. Well, first of all, I mean, nobody wants to lose their position at the moment, right? Because
Right.
there's always an opportunity for him to come back.
Right.
But for him to just move to the Tennessee Titans, he's just got married, just recently, right? And prioritizing family, right? Just as much as he is the NFL career. And then to have this happen, has to be like an incredible, it's an incredible blow. But then when you think about the opportunity, because when I found out about it, and then when I saw, like you said, that there was someone that took the time to interview him, and so that the actual narrative is out there. But this is what he did, and it may have been a banned substance, but he didn't know, and he, he was trying to help himself to have a child. I was thinking about it. I said, now, what kind of conversation does that open up? When you think about the fact that you're looking at an NFL player, so all you think is, bronze, you think, these guys are big and strong and, they can do anything and they don't have any problems. But then you have a young man who actually wants to grow his family.
Right.
And he went about it the right way. And so I'm seeing, hey, can we get Nazeeh Johnson over here so he can talk about fertility?
Listen, I'm already there with you, sis. I am there with you. That's the first thing I said. I was talking to Gabby about. I said, yeah, he needs to do some fertility commercials and be a sponsor or something. Yeah. Because I mean, it's sad that that he has to go through this, but it's a learning experience for all of us, not just him, for everybody. And now it's like, we're telling them that's all right. Even if it's a vitamin, make sure you can take it. Like, I don't care if it's a vitamin. Like at this point, I don't care what it is. We're making sure you can take anything that you're putting in your body. We're making a phone call. We're getting it in writing before you can take it. We're not taking nothing without it now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. And then when Coach Melody mentioned there are lessons in everything, I want to know, what did you learn about who you need to get this permission from? Because I'm like, okay, if the doctor tells you that it's okay, right? And they know what
and that's another issue. Correct. And that's I'm a nurse. So, by profession, technically you're supposed to tell the truth. That's all I'm saying. And the fact it didn't end up like it was, which is fine. A lot of people aren't going to say, well, yeah, I told him to take it and not make him look bad. So nobody's going to take that nobody's going to take that actual slack, which I get. Again, fine, whatever. Me not thinking either, and as we're talking about it, and I'm a nurse, so me not thinking, I'm not thinking about him putting anything in his body, because I'm not thinking of anything wrong, anything bad. I'm just thinking about they're trying for my grandkids. That's what I'm waiting on. That's what I'm thinking. And then when Gabby said, "Mom, he failed his drug test," and I said, "What?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" And then she told me, and I felt bad, because again, I'm a nurse, so I know what's getting put into you know what I'm saying. So I wasn't even thinking even. So I was just like, and I said, I talked to you several times about medicines. I've helped you give medicine and didn't even think about it myself. Right. We were just too caught up in trying to start this family, trying to be there, trying to be the supporter for the family. You know what I mean? We thought everything was good based off the fact that the doctor said it was okay to take.
Yeah.
Now you got to kind of second and third question, and keep asking a bunch of questions over and over again until you know it's the right answer. That's what I would say. Because make sure you definitely can take whatever you're putting in your body. I don't care who tells you. Because at this point, like I said, the doctor told him he could take it.
Okay.
Do you recommend now? Had you had a letter from the doctor, would that have helped?
I think that would have helped a lot of it, because when you're going against a doctor, when you're going against another medical professional and your word against theirs, you have it in writing that'll save you.
Yeah, because you could have submitted that as proof,
as evidence. Correct. Gabby went back. Like, the good thing, what I will say is they've been actually posting about their journey from when they first started. So this has been going on for a while. Not as far as them taking the medicine, but as far as them trying to do this process of having a family. So getting that all together, it can be stressful, but again, I try to stay positive because I know it can be real stressful. And mentally, we got to be there. Physically, we got to be there for them. Emotionally, we got to be there for them. Because without having the support system, it can really go bad.
That's what I was going to say. He's got you in his corner doing that. As a mom, it's like you want to help, jump in, fix it, right? I mean,
correct.
I mean, Nina, you know, when the boys were little and I was just like, something unjust would happen to any of the kids. And I was like, oh, sit down. I'm like, no, we got to fix this. But as they get older, you have to step back, right? And I think, how is he managing what happened? How is he doing with it?
He's actually managing quite well. Because first thing he said, I'm not really worried about it because I didn't do nothing wrong. And I said, absolutely. Because again, he wasn't. And this is what I gotta keep repeating. This is why I like to repeat it, because I'm like, he wasn't playing. It was off season when all this happened. And again, he wasn't doing any, and his numbers were not at a height to where you could tell he was doing this to pump up muscle or to heal faster. His levels weren't like that at all. It was all dealing with his testosterone being a certain range, and it actually got to where it needed to be. So now it's just, now he just got to change his diet and do it another way besides that way, which is fine. We'll figure out another way to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's great.
So you are already navigating something that is challenging, and we know that just being in the sport, you know, of being an athlete, there are always those challenges. But then, you know, there are the great things also. So I commend you for being there for Nazeeh, as you always have. I commend him for, you know, sometimes I think guys might get caught up in their career, and, you know, you're just trying to play. So, you know, like right now, you're not thinking I'm going to take something to help because my wife also wants to have a family.
Correct.
So exactly. I think it's a beautiful thing, but I know that comes from you too, because your kids, you are so close to your children and your husband. Y'all are a close-knit family. So I can see that he cares about family like that. So that's a beautiful thing. Yeah. Well, I appreciate getting that narrative out there like that.
Listen, when I saw it, and I'm gonna tell you, when I saw it, I started laughing. I said, I don't know whose idea, but that was the best thing, because the NFL didn't put it out. He did before the NFL did.
Right.
So by that time, everybody already started seeing what he was already saying. So at that point, and I don't, you know me, I don't care what people say. No, you know, I don't care.
Right.
I'll say, thank you. I appreciate you being a fan. You know how I do. You know, I don't have a problem with it.
Okay.
Well, you know what you said about Nazeeh having a really good attitude and being okay with it, then that probably lowers your stress level, right? Because when your son is good or your children are good, then you're good, better. Because I always say you can't take on that energy. And if he's being positive, then that to me is a really good part of it, and saying, oh, he didn't do anything wrong. When you standing on the truth and you have peace, that is over everything. So, you know, like the money that he lost or the time that he lost, he'll be able to get that back. But keeping his integrity is important.
Absolutely. So, all right. Well, let's pivot to, like, you know, just coming to the Tennessee Titans. I mean, I know how much fun you had with the Chiefs and all the relationships that you had there. And, you know, we've been here on the podcast with Worthy, you know, Xavier Worthy's mom, and, you know, a couple of other moms. And so what has it been like for you so far with the people that you have met? Have you met anybody, like any of the moms and families with the Titans?
Not yet. I haven't been on that side because I was in the process of moving from Virginia to Texas, so I haven't been on that side. And then he has a suspension, so I probably wouldn't be going until he's actually back. I think it's like in October. Okay. That'll probably be my first time going then. But you know me, I'm gonna make my rounds, meet whoever I meet. You know me, I don't have a problem making friends, saying hi, introducing myself.
Yeah. So has anybody reached out to you yet? Because I know, you know, we talk about the fact that you've reached out to other mothers, you know, who were new, NFL moms, just to kind of, you know, say, hey, you know, I'm here if you need anything, have any questions. Have you had any kind of contact with anybody?
Not as of yet. Okay. Not as of yet, no.
I'm sure.
It could be, and it could be because it's still early season. You know what I mean? So That could be it too. So once the 53-man roster come out and that type of thing, I'm sure things will change because it's always until what training camp and everything is over and all of the good stuff. So
okay. And then you have you have kids. That's the other thing that people don't realize. Like, we have more. Well, I only have one. All of you ladies, you have more than one. And so you had to pack up your whole family, your other children, and everybody had to come out to Texas. What's that been like?
Actually, the funny thing is just me right now. I'm the only one out here. My husband and his siblings are still in Virginia right now. I came first. I came first to get established, get started on everything for our house and all that good stuff. So I came out here first. And they'll be here no later than December.
Okay.
That's a smart move.
I had to get out of Virginia. It's too cold for me. I need the heat. It's 100-degree weather.
I can't. Well, that's smart. That's smart of you, though. That probably decreases the stress and, getting everything settled before you bring everyone else on board and get the kids all tucked away as far as schooling and all that, right?
Well, no, my youngest is 20.
Okay. So
yeah, my youngest is 20 and Nazee's my oldest. Yeah, all my kids are out. My kids have graduated from college and everything.
Okay.
I'm waiting to be a grandma, G-ma, grandma. I don't care what kind of mom, just a grandma. That's all I'm waiting for.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And one thing about Kisha is that she is going to enjoy life. Anybody that knows her on the internet knows that she loves to dance. She loves to, hang out and party. And she is really, she has a great relationship with her daughter-in-law, Gabby, which I think that is just so amazing. I mean, I'm not there yet, but I hope that when my son does meet a young lady that he wants to marry, that we don't have to be like the best of friends, but I would just like to have a good relationship, like someone like you do.
Gabby was a breath of fresh air. That is my ride and die. I do anything for her. I love her to death. I love her down. Let me tell you. That is the best thing that could have ever happened to our family was Gabby.
But Nina, guess what?
Yeah.
What I pray for is a daughter-in-law that loves me like she loves her mother.
Okay. All right.
If they love you like that,
absolutely,
then you'll be okay.
That's exactly what I have. That's why I have no complaints. And I know he's taken care of. I don't got to worry about him. That's the other thing. I can go ahead and just have some fun.
Yeah. I love that. Like I love my mother-in-law like I love my mom. I mean, she's just such an amazing, she's an amazing woman and just so caring, and she's never really like, in stuff, which I don't have, I wouldn't have a problem with that. But I mean, I just know some relationships where people are quite, it can be a little overbearing.
See, that's not me.
Never have that.
And that's not me either. I could be in the same house with them and something could be going on. I'm minding my business. I had nothing to do with that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't get involved. That's one thing I've never did with none of my kids. If they want to talk to me about something, sure. But I just don't impede myself. Be like, I don't do that. Because my kids are all grown. I tell anybody that. Like, I'll talk to my kids. I'll ask my kids questions. They'll be like, Mom, why are you asking? You're my mom. And that's what I get that I'm their mom, but out of respect because of their age and they're grown. I'm always going to ask. I'm never going to just assume and always just go ahead and do something. That's not me. I'll never do that. Never do that.
Well, as a married person, though, I agree with you. I've been married for quite some time, over 2 decades, and my mom never get in child affairs. Exactly. And you should keep them separate and always be fair, even as a parent. If your son is doing something wrong, then you have to own up to that. And if you do that, it'll stay peaceful. But when it's always like you're on their side and it doesn't matter what they do and they can't do any wrong. But like you said, stay in your own lane and mind your business, because that's grown folks going to do what they want to do.
Absolutely. If they need me, they'll come and get me. If they don't need me, I'm out of my business. And that's exactly what I've been doing. It's been working for me.
Sometimes they're going to want your help, right? And then if you give them 2 cents, they may not like what you're saying, and now you're on the bad list, right? So it's like you almost have to kind of should I respond to that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
and I won't lie to them. I'm straightforward. I'm a whether it's gonna hurt their feelings or not, I'm gonna tell you. That's one thing about me. I'd rather tell you the truth and be honest with you because I'm not a true friend. If I have to lie to you and sugarcoat it, then we shouldn't be friends. Because that wouldn't be good for me. Because to me, that would be a fake person to me, and I don't know how to do that too well.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't work out well for me.
Interesting. And you know, one thing about Diana, like our sons played in Theo and Hunter played together in what? Like middle
school, high school,
high school.
They went different ways for college.
Yeah, and she always exemplified that like strong mama, you know, figure to me, because she just kind of, you know, I think I was more, you know, kind of just making sure that my son stayed close and, you know, he didn't get too dirty or whatever the case may be. And I just admired that, you know, Diana, she allowed her boys to just be boys, do their thing. And like she said, if something wasn't right, she would speak up in a heartbeat. And there was no like quieting her down. It was no like
that's where faith comes in, right? Because I wish I would have prayed more at that time because I've been in jail. So I really
not like me. That was me when my kids was young. I understand.
Yeah, it's like I'm out of my chair. I'm walking down the field. It's like
I'm running.
Nobody's stopping me, right?
Well, you know, that's funny you guys say running down the field. When my boys were playing, my husband like, you don't go on the field. You sit right here and don't you interfere with the coaches. You know, it was like, and so I kind of just got conditioned with that. Never have they been hurt or anything like that. But, right. You know, it's just the different things like, don't be that mom that's like in there, you know. So it's just.
I didn't have a husband going. So it was me, right? So I'm a single mom raising a biracial boy he's now 6'4". You know, big boy. And his dad played for the Chargers. But I met his dad, you know, by the time I met his dad, he was selling cell phones at the mall. Like he didn't have a pot to piss in. But,
wow.
You know, I mean, I looked at somebody and back then it was like, oh, he's got a nice body. So this will make a nice baby. And hopefully, boy, because I want him to play for the Bears.
Okay.
Like this plan that I had, right?
Anyway,
so I wound up raising him in a white neighborhood. So we're out in Agoura Hills in Calabasas. And my thought is full speed ahead. If you have a problem with something, if he's too big, if he's brown, if I'm loud, if keep going. And Nina, you know, she's so sweet, right? She just laughed at me, you know, she's so calming. I just sit near her to calm down. You know? But I think for me, and like any mom, right, you just protect your kids. And some of the things I stepped into, I didn't realize were coming my way. And so, especially for my oldest, my youngest, he tried football. They knocked him over first game he was out. And he's Black and Latino. I adopted him out of foster care. So, but I still fight for him, you know, for everything. And, you know, Nina and I have talked regularly about how, you know, you've got to be your kid's person, whether it's, you know, both you and your husband, whether it's if they're too quiet or if you're too quiet, it's okay. You know, somebody's got to be there to speak up because Correct. I learned at a young age, they kind of treated our boys when they excel in sports, like, almost like, you know, I thought we were at like a cattle ranch or something. They're checking their size, they're weighing them, they're, you know, how fast are you hitting hard enough? And I was like, yeah, this kid's 9 years old, you know, I'm like, what are you doing? You know, right. and I think that was something for me. I had to really adjust to that, learn how to navigate through that. And he said to me when he was 10, he said, Mama, I don't want to play anymore. He said, it's just, I don't want to do it. And I said, and the coaches came to my house and they're like, oh, you need to play him. And I was like, you need to go. You know, he decided, I let him decide, and he wound up playing again in middle school. But it was that kind of pressure on these boys at such a young age. I mean, could not believe it. Could not believe it. And it's big in Texas, too, I know. I didn't think Southern California was as wild as it was, but it is.
But you know what? It's because they need support and they need an advocate, right? So
True.
we have to teach them how to advocate for themselves, especially after college, because of the way that they release information in that, but also being able to communicate for you. Because if you don't have support or anyone to advocate for you, then that's what happens. And oftentimes, even through like right now, when I'm working with, players or organizations, like whatever, even having someone on the team, and I know you probably see this, Kisha, right? It's also good to have someone outside of any of the teams too, to be able to talk to, so you can be open and transparent and really get the information you need, because people sometimes don't feel the safety of being able to share and what's happening mentally and emotionally with you. You need to release that, because it's not a perfect world. Like people always say, well, you're in the NFL or you're in the NBA, or you no, it's a job to them, and that's how they treat you. So you have to know how to protect yourself. And mental health, and Nina and I were talking about this, is so important right now because it's fragile. And I'm always talking about, with me being in the mental and physical wellness of the individuals, and we have to start normalizing this, talking and understanding the signs and triggers and things that are happening, because otherwise then they don't deal with it, and then you end up with a bigger problem.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been seeing lately. Like I've been seeing more like not older NFL, but they've been in the league, but then they've gotten out, they've committed suicide. Like it's really, really sad. And a lot of them I've noticed, like they don't have the support system to help them get through whatever they're getting through.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been seeing too. So I always make sure we have a good support system all the way around, from the siblings to his in-laws, to his wife. Like we all step in and help out, and that's for all of our sakes, not just his, for everybody's mental health. You know what I mean? So
it is.
We all get together because we're all a family.
Yeah. And what you mentioned is about adaptability, though, because what I am finding, because I have worked with people outside of the profession, when they finish, it's hard. You go from glory, people loving you, now you just like, oh, go over there. If you have not really trained and got yourself prepared for the transition, and having someone to help, oh my goodness, that could be huge. Because you're not seen the same way, even if you are your ex. It just changes, and if you don't adapt well, and then the adaptability could come from money. So if you haven't saved your money and that's all you've been doing is spending it, and you broke, it's a hard thing. Like I think Diana just said, now you're working in a phone shop, right? That's a huge adjustment, and everybody just do not adapt well.
Yeah. And, in addition to, like you said, the adjustment of the lifestyle, financially and other, the glory and all, it's sometimes, because I was very watchful of it when my son left college, like knowing who you are, sometimes that identity crisis is so real, because all you've done for, like with my son and all of our boys, for the most part, I'm sure, like played since they were like 5 years old. And so, they've been athletes, they played, they've, reached the pinnacle, sometimes where, you're this, but now you have to be that. And when I looked at my son looking for employment and other business opportunities, it took a minute, for him to say, okay, so what do I want to do now? He's got his degrees, his undergrad, his graduate degree, but his focus at the time was more, football, NFL, and rightfully so, because he, was headed there. But then injury changes things, life happens, and now you have to try to figure out, who am I? And what do I want to do? I was wondering, Coach Melody, how do you work with families to help maybe an athlete even before they get to that place, where they're just sitting there not really knowing what to do, where to go?
I mean, that's the beauty in it. If you work with them before then, they go through the transition a lot better. Having someone really to sit down and assess where you are and staying grounded is really important. And not getting to that point, and being able to walk them through, because when you listen, even sometimes with family, you sometimes don't want to tell people everything. I feel like they really need someone that they can open up to. And there's a lot of things that happen throughout the process as well. So how you are working through it, it really does happen. I tell everybody you need a coach and a therapist. You need both of them, because even moms, like women and men, they're different. So Kisha talks about her husband and the family and everything, but sometimes you need someone else to go to that you can help, because you process things differently. Men and women do. And even with your kids, you don't want to bring them into there, but everybody needs a safe place. And that's one thing that I talk to people about all the time. I've been doing this over a decade, and I'm like, I need for everyone to understand it's okay to open up. It's okay, even if they need to cry, if they're having a hardship about something, let them be you. My husband used to get on me about that. Oh, they can't cry. Yes, they can. Yes, they can, and they will, and it's okay, and they didn't do it often, but why can't they? It's a natural emotion to be able to release so that you can get past the pain. You don't have to push through it. You can get past it. And I just know that for me, I'm always talking through, if you're on top of it and get ahead of it, it'll never really get to you like that, because you have someone that you can really help process through and see it a little bit more objectively, Nina, than other.
Got you.
Yeah.
I don't know if things changed, have they? Because like when my son, he played for the Cougars, Washington State, and he had some issues with concussions, and one of them, took him out for a while, and they called me back. Oh yeah, he's at the hospital. We come in and they're like, we're releasing him, and I'm like, whoa, what do you mean? Yeah, he can take his stuff and go home. And I'm like, wait a minute. He came here on a scholarship. He's going to finish and get his degree. Mm-hmm. And who's going to help him through this? Who do you have that's going to support him through this? And, he had a buddy who killed himself, the quarterback of their team, committed suicide, Tyler Helinski. And, that was hard on him, hard on a lot of players. And to just say, hey, if any of the guys, if you need to talk to somebody, let me know. That doesn't do it. And I thought to myself, I went there. I was banging on doors. I mean, I'm telling you, luckily I was on the radio at the time. I said, this is going to be a daily conversation until you guys figure out how to support these kids. Because it's terrifying to me that I get a call, that, something happened to my son. That was my biggest fear, is I was going to get a phone call. And there was no support. I mean, thankfully, I banged hard enough that I was able to get them to let him finish school and get his degree. But I'll tell you what, he walked in the next day, they had cleared his locker. They took everything. He couldn't even get his shoes. I mean, it was like boom, 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 boom. And you're out. You can stay here and finish your degree, but, the disconnect was just instant. And I wonder if at the NFL level too, like, do they have any support systems for these guys?
Well, I know, I know Kisha can speak to that, but I've also had a wonderful woman, Carrie Hastings. She's the sports psychologist for the Los Angeles Rams. Mm-hmm. I had her on with Kim Helinski, Tyler's mom, and she talked about how they work with the guys, especially coming out of high school and coming into a new environment where you're coming up against men, like, grown men that have been there, trying to maintain their livelihood. And they have been through things like, each of you have mentioned. And so she talked about the fact that they do have a support system. People may not come for it, just like, even in high school, they may not come to get the help because sometimes they don't want to be seen, in that way, as though they need help. But it is available, and I've spoken to other moms who have said that it's available. Kisha, what do you see when it comes to something like that?
It's just really sad. Like, cause I deal with a lot of it because I am a nurse, so I see a lot of it. Unfortunately, the biggest thing that I say is like the support system of having people that you can talk to, that'll listen to you, that won't judge you. That's really the biggest thing, because a lot of times I think the guys feel like they can't talk to certain people. If they say something, it's going to get out or maybe come out the wrong way, or they kind of bottle everything in. You know what I mean? But if you can have like certain people you can talk to, even if it could be a therapist, talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
That could be somebody that, because if you think about it, I'd rather have somebody that's kind of in the middle than on one side or the other. I'd rather you be able to have a clear mind and not have to worry about what they're thinking about. You don't know, because you're open to whatever you're getting ready to say. There's no, I'm looking at this, looking at it this way, or you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
But you know what? That's why I got into this business, honestly, seeing the gap and the need. And the culture competence of it all is real as well, meaning having someone that you can relate to, someone that, uh, all of that, the background, where you
makes it
come
easier.
from, all of that is real. And I was in pharmaceutical sales, Keisha, for like 18 years. So that is something
Okay.
that I learned deeply. And what people don't understand is it does matter. And they do need someone to talk to. So it needs to become, and I've been talking to some teams and, doing that, like, hey, we need someone, and everybody needs some people like me, right?
Correct.
And this is the reason why it's so that instead of giving it as an option, make it to something that they actually take
They
advantage
should
of,
do. Yeah,
because
they should be
that's
doing
how
it.
you normalize it. You're
Correct.
not going to do it just say, oh, it's there. It's a lot of things that are there that they have no idea.
And
Like
not
I
use
talked
it.
to football moms, and they have no idea what's in the queue, like all the things that you guys have, because everybody don't take advantage of all of the different things. And you guys may not have as much as the players have, but the players have a lot of options and things that they can use, but they don't
Mhm.
necessarily take advantage of it, right? Lack of time, practice, family, like all of these things get in the way. So how do we bring it all together and really make sure they're being supported? It's just an important part of the sport to me that I think is being missed, like what Keisha just said.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I obviously that's why having someone like yourself, Coach Melody, is so important. Knowing someone like yourself, being able to refer people to you, or just kind of say, okay, what do you think? Which brings me to when we've been talking about the kids, we've been talking about the players and the athletes, but then there's us.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? We have to take care of ourselves. We have
Us.
to,
Yes.
what happens when we, have a difficult time going through things, and, we need somebody to sit down and talk to. And I thought about when you said, Diana, that you were like, I was a single mom. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm having to, approach people, speak up for my son, dealing with, what he went through, with the concussions, and just kind of how things panned out at Washington State. I, who did you have, Diana? Like when you
No,
would
I
deal.
didn't. I didn't have anybody. I didn't have any friends that I knew whose kids had gone through. Like I can remember my son being in high school and kind of wobbling around on the field after a hit. And they're taught to hit hard in middle school, right? I think it was middle school or freshman year of high school. And they put him on varsity. And I said, don't put him on varsity. He's a freshman. This is not healthy, blah, blah, blah. Do it. They did it anyway. He begged me, but I sat there watching him and I'm like, now he just had his bell rung and nobody's doing anything. So
Mhm.
my first thing is, okay, let me try to get the coach's attention. Nobody's listening to me. So now I'm at the fence, right? And I'm yelling at my son and I'm saying, sit down, sit down. And, I learned then, it was like, oh, he'll be fine. He just needs to sit down for a few minutes. And I'm like, he's walking around like he's drunk, and he took a hit,
Yes.
set him out for a while, if not the rest of the game. But I got to, what I learned was just to be resourceful. I'm a big researcher. And so I constantly was researching CTE and concussions and all these things and symptoms and behavioral things I'd noticed seemed a little off. And, so I had to take it upon myself to find, somebody that he could talk to about, what he's going through. And
Right.
then, when you don't make it to that next level and you thought your whole life, this is who I want to be. And now you're at an age and all of a sudden it's pulled out from under you. Now, what do I do with myself? And
Mm.
so again, you got to get resourceful. You got to, try to find people. And not every person, is a Coach Melody that you can sit down with, right? Like you can go on her and put her in different cities. I mean, seriously, I tried different people and there just wasn't a chemistry, or they didn't understand his walk through life. They, whatever the reasons were. But I think it's important that you have to get resourceful and you have to stand up and be gentle.
Yes. Yeah.
But Diana, that's the culture competence part, finding that right person with the right mix.
Yeah.
And then with you having a biracial child, then that made it a little bit different, right? So I definitely understand that. I have cloned myself though. Okay. I have cloned myself.
Okay.
I've created some resources that allow me to not be there, but to be there. But you're right. You do need someone. The students, and it's unfortunate that they treated him that way. But thank God that he had someone, a mom like you, that kind of step up and to be able to protect him. But unfortunately, you didn't have the support. But you survived.
I drink a lot of Jack Daniels. I'll tell you that.
See? But you know, ladies, one thing, we're laughing and everything, but we have a little bit of therapy. I just really always encourage people, have someone to talk to, right? When things are not going well. Absolutely. If you feel like you got to go to the bridge, you need to call a friend, call your mom, call someone that you can talk to. But also another thing is just to have more preventative measures. And when I say preventative, start talking ahead of time. Let's start making sure we don't have to, I'm fine and I'm strong and I can do everything. I mean, we've all gone through hours like that before, getting into the whole self-care and mental wellness and exercising. Like there are things you can do, making sure you're eating good and feeling good from the inside out, not just looking like that on the outside and you showing up like, hey, and then you just, that's the real thing. And you don't even know when people are suffering until something tragic sometimes happens, which it makes you feel so sad that you weren't able to alleviate or help them out ahead of time because they weren't upfront and honest, right?
Right.
Yeah. And they do a lot of this, right? Do a lot of praying.
Yeah.
That part. And as you said, Coach Melody, and it's a term that a woman who I know of, her daughter is Arlena Miller. And she was a young lady who was a cheerleader at Southern University, and she committed suicide. And her mom established a foundation called Check on Your Strong Friends. So as you said, be observant. Don't be afraid to ask a question because, you'd rather someone maybe be uncomfortable or offended, but if it's not the case, but you'd rather ask the question in case somebody is struggling and they just need that moment for somebody to just stop and say, hey, are you okay? And so I do think we need to be more observant. We need to have more conversations like this so that it becomes, as you said, the norm. It's just not like something that we deal with when we get to a place when we feel like we don't have any alternative. So we could talk. There is so much more to talk about, which is why I do believe so much in having spaces like this, for mothers to be able to just talk, have these real conversations about the real things that we deal with ourselves and with our children, and then to be able to support one another, to be able to meet someone. Correct. Like each of you, like Diana said, she said, I got on the radio and I was like, we're going to have this conversation every day.
Every day.
Who knows? Right. And then, with you, Coach Melody, you're like, listen, there is hope. There are people out there, professionals who can help you take advantage of it, utilize the resources. And then Kisha, being open and willing to discuss personal matters, such as, her son and daughter-in-law and what they experience, to just say, okay, listen, for the next person, make sure you take a minute, you ask the right people the right questions, and then you also just keep positive frame of mind and just keep it moving, which is something that I know she has always done, is just keep it moving.
That's it. That's all I know.
That's all you know.
Before we close tonight, and we got to come back because there's just so much more to talk about. But before we close, I did have a couple of questions that I wanted to leave everybody with. And one of them is, after everything that you've experienced, Kisha, and all of you can actually answer this, after everything you've experienced as a sports mom, what do you know now that you wish someone had told you when this journey first began?
Huh. Look, how the stress level of my kid would be, and how it would affect me as well. Like, it's just like the whole process of getting into the league, going into the league, um, pro day, and all that to go through all of that again. Oh my goodness, I don't even know what to say. Like, it's you just can't prepare for it. Like, it's really hard to prepare. To be honest with you. Um,
So be strong, just kind
That's it.
of,
You gotta be strong. Yeah, you definitely do. You gotta be strong, and you gotta have a good head on your shoulders, because people will pick and
yes.
say things and make you react and try to make you react. That's what I've noticed with a lot of people. And what I've done, instead of getting upset, I went ahead and turned it and was like, I appreciate you guys. I thank you guys for doing it. And then I ended up having a whole article about me all over the social media, and I didn't even realize all the thing I said was thank you for doing what you're doing. I mean, I'm not gonna be mad at you. But I
Right.
didn't say nothing bad, because I did, I probably all on social media. So the biggest thing is just you really have to watch how you handle yourself with everybody, no matter who it is, whether it's your kids, a
Yeah.
coach, your son, or even just saying anything simple on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you take it and run with it.
That's true. Well, Diana, what words of wisdom do you have
Hey,
for mama?
I want you to say hi to Nina. She knew you when you were just a baby. We're getting ready to take off.
Hi, Ty. How
That's
are
my
you?
hero.
There's our handsome
Oh,
pilot.
very
Right? You got
handsome.
your license, right?
Yeah, he got his commercial pilot license, so he's
Oh my goodness. When you were just a little something when I knew you and would see you running around while your brother was playing football. It's so great to see you.
Yeah, I think I'd probably say for me, obviously I, didn't go to the level like with Kisha. Probably that was God's doing, because I don't know if my heart can take it. Honestly, because I mean, even just going to games, I was like, have to like breathe, calm down, like, because a part of me almost felt like it was me out there, and
Mhm.
especially when he was younger, and I had to try to separate that. I think that's from being a single mom, and he and I were together till he was 10, and then I got tied. But and I think that relationship was hard for me to watch some of the stuff we went through. But I think stepping back, watching, but never entrusting your kids to just like, oh, handing them over to the coach. I don't care if it's middle school, high school, college, you know, don't just hand your child over to these people. Like, let them know this is a business, right? And I'm here for you, and I will help you as much as I can. But, like Coach Melody was saying, you also have to allow them to grow into the men that they're going to grow into be, and kind of guide them that way. I wish I would have known that sooner. I would have let go of the reins a little sooner. I think that's probably what I would have fixed.
Okay. And I'm going to go because I want Coach Melody to close this out. But I think for me, I say take time and really try to enjoy the ride, because there are so many things that you will be worried about. Like, my son being a wide receiver, every time he came down, every time he twisted an ankle, then, in college toward the end, have
Yeah.
back to back injuries drove me crazy. And then sometimes the coaches would drive you crazy. Um, and it was a lot, but it was also amazing. And I'm so proud of him. So I think for me, I would learn, or I would say, take time, just breathe, and really try to savor the moments, because they do go quickly.
I do.
Yeah.
And I would just wrap it up as one thing that I've learned is I'm so grateful that I had an opportunity to get the skills and expertise to help them navigate, because that is very important, being able to know how to do that part, and just understanding we can't always make their decisions for them.
Yeah.
And I tried and I didn't get listened to. I got outvoted. And it those decisions make lifelong changes that you
Yeah.
never, ever, ever get to come back from. And sometimes people have to learn those hard lessons, and it hurts, but it can hurt you more than it hurt them. And
Right.
so the takeaway for me is, just really trying to stay in my lane and support the best way that I can and be an advocate for them. But now on the other side of this whole sports thing is helping them to be, I feel like I'm more like a mentor now to my sons, right? Because they're adults and they're going to make their own decisions. And they have told me now, and hey, everybody listening, I just couldn't believe it. Mom, this is not your decision. What? Really? But they're grown and they're right. They live in their own city, pay their own bills.
Absolutely.
And it just showed me, hey, it's time to step into your place and know your place. And it made me better. It made me a better mom. And now, I looked at my husband sometimes like, look, you stepping too far. So just know how to step, right? Just be mindful of that and be respectful because they're adults now. They're not children.
Exactly.
You did your job. If you put in all of that integrity, the self-respect, the honesty, they're going to do the right thing.
Exactly.
I love it. Well, I just have to thank you, ladies, for just getting in the huddle with me tonight. I think tonight was definitely a reminder that behind every athlete, every uniform, and every headline, there is a family, a story, and usually a mama like us that's holding it all together. And so I appreciate you, and I just want to say thank you to everybody that's been listening. Kind of want to give a little bit of information here for anybody that wants to reach out to you all. I know that Nazeeh has an amazing foundation, which is 13's Promise. And Kisha, you could just tell us quickly what
Sure.
you do.
It's dealing with parents or children that have incarcerated parents. We do everything from helping with school supplies, doing events, different things, book bags, anything that we can possibly do. We did Christmas, we did Thanksgiving one year. So just supporting the kids. Anybody that's been incarcerated that experience what my kids had experienced when I was locked up or in that type of situations.
Okay, awesome. Well, we appreciate that. And it is 13spromise.org. Okay.
So just Foundation.org.
Foundation.org. Okay. And then Diana Steele, we know you're on Instagram. So folks need to check out Kisha. She's, she keeps your spirits up. But then Diana, where can we find you, love?
If you're in Arizona, I'm on the air during the day on a station called Sunny 104.3. I do different voiceover work, around the country and stuff. But other than that, I got 6 dogs, so I'm locked down in Arizona.
All right, and you have to promise to come out there and get on the show with you because I've always just had this little thing about being on radio. And you always say that.
The voice. I don't know why you're not doing it already.
So. I agree.
I'm coming now that I'm semi-retired from being a beauty and fashion stylist and all of that. All right. And then Coach Melody, where can we find
everyone? I'm very easy to find, Coach Melody on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and I'm your wellness extraordinaire. I really am proud of the programs that I create, author, health contributor, all the things. And I would love to, like Kisha, I know we didn't get to get deep into it, but definitely Diana being able to talk offline. It really is important to, assess yourself and see where you are and get the support. And that's just what I encourage everyone to do. And I am so happy to be in the huddle today. Thank you, Ms. Nina Shay, for such an awesome experience because this is what it's about. Bringing women together and just people being able to help uplift, encourage, and prayerfully someone will take away from this. Reach out to us if you need the support. Just do not feel like you have to go at it alone. That's what I did.
Exactly.
Unwrapu.com, our website. Unwrapu.com. Very easy.
Awesome. And I just want to invite everybody back. This was the first time for this season in a long time, but we are going to come back. So I just want to invite all the mamas that have been listening, anybody that enjoyed what they experienced today, to just meet us back here in the den. We'll be back next Monday night, for another great conversation, with some moms that just have a lot to share, a lot of inspiration, as you said, Coach Melody, uplifting, and just kind of being there for each other. And please like, share, and subscribe. You can find me on the Mama Bear Podcast, or at the Mama Bear Podcast on Instagram, and that's with an S. And then YouTube, the Mama Bear Podcast. And I'm out there, but we'll be back here again next Monday. And thank you all so very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes,
You're welcome.
absolutely. All right.